Business Source is proudly sponsored by JCH Communications. When it comes to marketing, we mean business. From websites to videos, we can guarantee you a return on your investment. Take a look now on our website at our video, www.jchcom.com. Hi, welcome to Business Source, brought to you by Connecting Business, the show that gives you authentic conversations to help your business. There's no smoke and mirrors, just real people sharing their experiences. And as ever, I'm your host, Lee Nightingale. And today I'm joined by a serial entrepreneur, Darren Lake. Darren is Group CEO and founder of Pure Cloud Solutions and has had a very eventful journey in business and working career that he's going to share with us today. So let's get into it. Darren, welcome to the show.
Hi Lee, thanks very much for having me today. We're looking forward to it.
Excellent, excellent. Darren, so probably worthwhile just building out some context. Pure Cloud Solutions, what do you do, for who? Brief overview, please.
Okay, so Pure Cloud Solutions are what you call a managed service provider. So we deliver end-to-end technology solutions around voice, including mobility, data security, managed print and disaster recovery. And we manage the end-to-end process for clients. Our clients tend to be kind of mid-market, SME to mid-market, so probably from around about 30 employees up to a couple of thousand over several sites. We also look after a couple of clients in Europe, and we've just recently appointed a distributor in South Africa, which is quite exciting.
Nice, yeah, wonderful market down there, and one I contemplated getting resources in myself. I may well do. I really like. I've got some great contacts down there through my golfing buddies and pros that I've caddied for, so that's great. But thanks for sharing that. You've been in phones and communication for quite some time, have you not?
Yeah, phones for you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, since the age of 17. So I was doing my OA levels back then, actually, before you did your O levels, with my childhood sweetheart, who is now my wife. And we managed to get ourselves pregnant at quite a young age. So I needed to.
You don't need to talk us through that one, but there is that whole birds and bees,
So my dad should have just done a better job. So I obviously decided I need to get a job to obviously look after the family that was on the way. So at that time, my mother's boyfriend had a management position at a telecoms company and asked me if I wanted to join as an apprentice, which I did. So started off at the age of 17, putting London systems into hotels around the coast. So pretty much working away Monday to Friday, sometimes weekends as well, which wasn't ideal, but obviously it was earning a decent apprentice salary.
So that was phones, phone lines, the old PBX systems. Was that around then?
Hotel PBXs. Yeah, so it was one of the first systems that was out, and it really changed a lot of hoteliers' lives, actually, like check-in, check-out, sort of like maid services, all that sort of stuff, in-room billing. It was quite a good system at that time. From there, basically went to work for a company in Birmingham called Telecom Products, installing the Panasonic and SDX systems. Was there for a few years, then ended up working for a company called UTM, part of UTL, who were the UK's only distributor at that time for Toshiba and SDX systems. Right. So I joined their support arm, UTM, Universal Telecom Maintenance, I think it stood for, and was looking after basically everywhere from Bristol up to John O'Groats, which was
big patch.
I think the first year for those guys, I probably did about 80,000 miles in my Astra van, which was exciting. Got stuck in the snow gates a few times as well. And then from there, UTM were bought by a company called Shipton Communications. Shipton Communications were the first company to provide telephone systems when BT relaxed all of its licensing way back.
When they were forced to do that.
Yeah, when they were forced to do that. But Shiptons are one of the first companies to actually like start providing their own PBXs and stuff. So a long-established business. I was there for about 14 years in total. I had a little break in between where I went to join another company as a board director because I really wanted that at Shipton DTW, but didn't actually get the opportunity to do it. They brought somebody else in, but then I went to join somebody else. Came back to DTW as their technical director, looking after the introduction of their OpenCom series for business, and it was across London, Switzerland, and Germany. So I spent about 2.5, 3 years traveling between those three places, which was quite exciting. Yeah, really exciting. So, I mean, some of the things that we did there was bringing this new product to market that was German made, and trying to establish a foothold in the UK, which was not easy because you were up against people like Panasonic, Toshiba, Avaya, Mitel, all with a massive foothold in a well-established market. But we did really well. We did really well because it had some fantastic wireless what they call DECT technology, and we tended to bolt it onto those other systems. So still managed to get a pretty decent footprint in the market.
Just jumping back a step, because apprenticeships are something that I'm a big fan of, and would love to see more of a push to have them within this country. What was your experience of the whole apprenticeship, and what's your view on it now? Is it something that you feel we could do more of to bring people into business, get them prepared quicker? Because I don't know how you find it, but generally speaking, when these kids are leaving school, it's almost as if they've learned nothing, and you've got to start from a blank canvas. And I just wonder where we can help bridge that gap and help that transition from education into business.
Yeah, definitely, and I think there's a few there's a kind of few areas that you can get apprentices now. I think the new one's Kickstart, isn't it? I think that's just been released. But just going back to my experience, I think because it was a small private business, it was more of the name apprentice rather than an actual apprenticeship compared to what was on offer with people like BT. So yes, I was given the opportunity to learn a trade, if you like, but as regards actually given a market recognised qualification at the end of it, I didn't have that. It was just literally given a manual, and it was kind of like, here you go, guys. This is your 2-day course. Here's the manual. Now you're going to Lincoln to install one tomorrow, sort of thing. So that was kind of my baptism by fire, as I think they used to say.
Yeah, good God, I remember all these NVQ stuff that sort of came out, and even still then, I don't know that people valued those, or asked people if they got them. And I think it's okay in certain sectors, nursing, care homes, all that kind of stuff, where they haven't gone to college, university, or whatever, but you still need to be recognized as having gone through certain skills. For me, I guess the apprenticeship is more about just giving people work experience.
Absolutely,
far greater than a week or two you got during school.
Absolutely.
Didn't do anything.
Well, I mean, our current technical director has been with the business 15 years now. He started off as an apprentice, a cabling apprentice, never ever wanted to do anything technical, just wanted to stay installing cables for the rest of his life. And now I would say he's probably one of the best technical people I've ever worked with in my career. Wow. So a complete 180 turn from Nick Matthews is his name. really clever guy. Sort of guy that you do give a manual that's that kind of thick and say, right, okay, just go and come back and feed back to us what this is all about. And he's just brilliant. I mean, he does flight simulators in his spare time, and also he takes our products home and sets them up at home, and he just plays with everything that we've ever introduced into the business and kind of rips it to pieces and comes back with what needs to be done to make it better. So I totally agree with you. Actually, I think apprenticeships add real value, and we've probably had there's Nick, there's a couple of engineers, and also our marketing lady. She finished, so it's more of an internship rather than an apprenticeship, but also she's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Well, kudos to you for taking that approach. I want to jump to the experience abroad. Did you take your then girlfriend, fiance / wife, pregnant
Wife?
wife? Did
Yeah.
you go as a family to and stay there, or was it a case of traveling back and forward?
It was traveling. I mean, we had 3 kids then, by the way. So yeah, it was Claire plus 3. But no, I ended up traveling quite a lot and being away from home a lot, actually. And I would say, looking back, that's one thing I do regret, because I've got grandkids as well now, and I've kind of lived the seeing my grandkids go through things that I actually missed my kids going through, which was a big regret really that I've always had. But you do what you've got to do at the time, don't you? We were living a decent lifestyle. The kids got to experience things that they wouldn't necessarily have got to experience by me doing that role. But it comes at a price, and it's with all things you have to weigh it up. And I was the main breadwinner, so I had to carry on doing exactly that.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. We had a baby girl in the end of August 2019, so she's now 17 months, and both my wife and I, due to COVID and lockdown, have both been working from home. So we've got to see her grow up and take first step, crawling, walking, running, talking. We're at that phase right now, the running and talking. Very interactive. Yeah, like the Energizer Bunny. So we're definitely enjoying that, and I can't imagine what that must have been like for you to be away from that. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when you say to them, "Oh yeah, I travel for a lot with business. I'm away and I go to all these great countries." They don't understand the implications of just what you're missing out on when
But
when that's the case.
it sounds very glamorous, doesn't it? So, I mean, for a start
Mm,
off, I wouldn't have been able to obviously achieve any of that without the support of Claire, because obviously she was at home with 3 kids, which, is not an easy thing to do, you know what I mean? So she had all the burden of that. I wasn't around because I was away. And what people have to appreciate is you might be in a different country, which is fantastically glamorous on the from an outlook perspective, but really you by yourself all the time, because the people that you're working with got their own families. So
mm,
the last thing they want to be doing is spending all week looking after somebody else who's come to visit from another country, because they've got their own lives to lead. So you
yeah.
end up doing a lot of eating alone and drinking alone and putting on weight.
Yeah, it's very, and I did, God, 6 7 years of it at WebSense, traveling to San Diego 4 5 6 times a year for a week at a time, and right across the world. I'd be away for probably about 3 months of the year in total. And you see a lot of taxis, a lot of airports, a lot of airplanes, a lot of hotels, a lot of
Yeah,
conference rooms, and then in reverse.
yeah,
And that's generally about it. It is quite, it can be very lonely. And of course, back then we didn't have FaceTime, right? And WhatsApp
absolutely.
video, and
Yeah,
so you do a phone call, but geez, the phone calls are so expensive back then to make
absolutely.
international calls that it was just a quick put your mum on, or you'd reverse the charges and all that. It was yeah, it was pretty tough. No Skype I think might have just really come out when I was doing that
Yes,
traveling.
yeah. Skype was about. But I
Mm,
suppose one positive from that is that you get to experience different business cultures as well as the personal side of it, but you get to understand what makes different business cultures tick and how they operate. And so that was a big positive. I really enjoyed working in Switzerland because the offices were right on the base of the Alps, and the outlook was absolutely fantastic. And they did like a 2-hour lunch, did the Swiss.
Yeah. And that experience has clearly held you in good stead, and give you a solid base for now running your own business and working with international clients, because you get it, you understand that you have to change your mindset and perception of the way things are done, and different cultures and sales processes, buying processes, they are very different in different countries.
And the world's a smaller place now. We've been looking after people in Malta, especially Malta, for quite some time now, and it's the same. Yes, it's a different time zone, but we run a 24-hour operation anyway, so it makes no odds to us whatsoever. And it's been very successful, and I'm hoping that this South Africa thing really takes off, because the distributor's got about 60 resellers that they look after. They've also got some pretty big direct clients that part of their business looks after as well. And we're talking like big government type bodies with thousands of employees. So I'm really excited about that at the moment. And I think like I say, it puts you in good stead to understand that the world's a lot bigger than just the UK.
Yeah, absolutely, and yet a lot smaller in the fact that ease of doing business with businesses and clients in other countries. You don't have to be flying there all the time. You took some time out, as did I, and I've shared that experience on previous podcasts, so I won't go into that. What did you do during your time out to sort of recharge, re-energize? What did you get up to?
Yeah, so I mean, after DTW, obviously there was a big political thing that went on in Germany, and then basically one by one, all of the UK directors were taken out. I was the third one to go. It was the MD that went first, then the sales director, then me, then finally the FD. And then I set up a small reseller business with a couple of guys that lasted about 2 years because we had different views of where the focus should be. So I then went to work for Crane Communications as an account director. So I took a pretty big backward step, to be honest. Didn't really enjoy it because I've always had a problem of kind of saying what I feel and what I think about things, and that don't always put you in the best
in the corporate world now.
So that didn't last very long either. And then I went to work for BT. And BT was a massive beast with so much bureaucracy. Fantastic job that I did working for Global Services, but you just get that wrapped up in the internal politics and 54 phone calls that could have been dealt with one. It just wasn't the place for me either. So then I ended up setting up a business called Ethos Voice and Data with a guy called Paul Norris. And I believe he passed away last year, actually, God bless his soul. But that didn't work out either. After about 2 years, again, just a different view of what the business should be doing. So then I took a complete break, and I took a break for about it was about 18, 20 months. So I became a fully qualified butcher, which was a completely different ball game. It was a small friend shop that I got involved in, and I absolutely loved it. To be honest, it absolutely did me the world good, because I kind of emptied my brain, if you like. It was a very easy job to do. You go in, you cut meat, you talk to clients, have a bit of chat with the old dears that are bringing you a mince pie at Christmas, and it was fantastic. No stress at all. So it kind of recharged my batteries, but I did miss communication, so eventually got back into it.
Right. Out of all those different sort of startup, didn't work out, etc. That's okay, because if you speak to any of the successful entrepreneurs out there, serial entrepreneurs, they have had multiple failings, and it really is okay. what went wrong, dissecting it, understanding it, learning from it, and moving forward, and not sort of it wasn't doom and gloom and it was all bad. And yes, the net result was bad. It didn't go forward and
Yeah.
the business shut down. But all right, let me just learn from that and crack on. What would be the key takeaway for you in those learning experiences? Let's call them.
Okay, well, I mean, the biggest one is obviously people. And I don't think that one's you're ever going to be able to fix. And I'll probably come on to that later when I'm into business with my brother eventually. But the people thing is always going to be there, and people's differing views and expectations are what they are. So that's just something that everybody has to manage in whether you're working for somebody, whether you're working alongside somebody. You've got to manage that. The biggest takeaway, I think, with reference to protecting yourself is making sure that you have a shareholders agreement and everything agreed in writing and signed by everybody involved at the beginning of that journey, so that if it does go wrong, you've got something to refer to. I'm a very trusting person, and I think sometimes that's bitten me on the bum, should we say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that I'm going to have to consider because I'm under a joint venture agreement with somebody right now, and that could ultimately lead to us coming together. That's the goal. And we absolutely need to make sure that we're both protected should
Absolutely.
things go sideways or south. Things like exit agreements. Well, somebody has to make somebody an offer for their half of the business or sharing the business, and if they don't agree, you can go to mediation and all that. There's a proper structure
Yeah.
to that exit process before just sod it, let's just wind it up.
Absolutely.
And it's even more painful when it's with somebody that you know prior to that. So it makes it really difficult, puts a strain on you both and the relationship. And more often than not, it means not only a parting of company within the business, but a parting of the friendship as well.
Yeah.
It's very rare you can sort of get over that. So it's a real tough one. But yeah, I get you with the BT thing. I think most people would agree. As soon as they pick up the phone to call BT, they feel like they're going through 54 phone calls to get one thing done.
I mean, to be honest with you, it was a surreal experience. I mean, my local office. I mean, I live in Tamworth. Well, I lived in Tamworth at the time. Then my local office was Edinburgh. I was a full-time home worker, so if I just managed a remote force of account directors looking after like the big corporates, banks, MBNA, Barclays, RBS, all that sort of stuff, and it was. It was again another fantastic learning experience. Absolutely fantastic learning experience. Brilliant organisation, and they, if they actually sorted out their internal politics and structure, that'd be a force to be reckoned with. To be honest with you, but they spend that much time arguing between departments. It's just hey, that's
Yeah.
good for all of us now, though.
Well, yeah, and it's crazy in this day and age that it's people's politics and selfish ambitions that are holding companies back.
Absolutely.
It's really all about playing games and playing the political game and getting your wins in, and ultimately all of that means absolutely nothing if you've got no customers because they've left because you're providing a bad customer experience.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. And that's one thing I would say that we've done well now with Pure Cloud Solutions. We've built that kind of open culture. We've got a team of 26 people, and we've got a very, very, very open culture at our business.
Right. Before we get into that one, because I want to talk about customer retention and your views on that.
Yeah.
Talk about going into business with your brother. Speaking of going into business with family and the ramifications of that, how did that go down?
So we kind of skirted around it a few times because I got Martin the job at the place where he was for literally his whole career, called CS Communications, when he was about 18 or 19. And then he eventually bought the two guys out that owned it, and managed it himself. And like I said, we'd always spoke about doing something. And then towards just after I'd come back from into comms, probably about two and a half years after that, he says, "Look, I've had a good year. Should we do it? Should we have a go and see what we can make together?" So my background had obviously been cloud and kind of all of the future kind of like market leading technologies, and Martin had got a great customer base. So we decided to give it a bash. And within the first 6 months, I think we wanted to rip one of the heads off a few times. Probably being honest with you, probably into the first 18 months, we had a few humdinging conversations, should we say. But it all come good in the end, and we haven't looked back since. We took it from circa 500,000, I think, when I joined, and this year, hopefully, if we hit our targets, which we're on track to do, we should be about 5.4 million turnover, which is great.
Fantastic.
But turnover's kind of vanity. It's all about the bottom line profit, right? So I mean, we're kind of growing that. We're growing that nicely. This year we should hit 10% EBIT, which is not bad.
Fantastic. So the CS Communications, did that turn into pure cloud solutions, or is
no CS? Yeah, CS is still there. Yeah, CS is still there, but basically because of how PCS kind of grew, all of the customers kind of transcended from CS to pure cloud solutions, and then all the staff moved from CS to, so we just tupied them across. So it's still there as a trading business, but everything now, probably for about the last 4 or 5 years, has been driven by pure cloud solutions. We did a couple of acquisitions in 2018 as well, in the IT space, which added some more skill set into the business, because we could see where our weaknesses were and where we wanted to go. So we kind of plugged that with a couple of acquisitions, and we're hoping to do a couple more as well.
Fantastic, because of course that then brings in the potential of cross-sell. You're buying not just a technology, but the client base, prospect base as well, right, which you can sell into.
Bang on, and that's what we've been doing, and we've been very successful at that. So being able to go to a customer and sell, and provide a solution that's going to add value to them, but also makes that client more sticky to you. Because well, let's face it, you've got to deliver a good service in any case. It's not just about the products, but if you've got a product set that the customer can see is going to add value to them and fix issues that they've got, and then they've got the trust in you to deliver a good service, then you've got a win-win situation. And again, we've been very, very fortunate, that we've brought on a lot of new customers through the introduction of PCS and the growth of PCS. But we've also maintained pretty much every single one of the original customers that CS had. So as a combined business, we celebrated our 30th year last year, our 30th year. And we still got customer number one, and I don't think there's many businesses out there that can say that.
Wow, that's fantastic. Because it's one thing providing great tech. There is phenomenal tech out there, for all manner of different things, but it's about the manner in which you deliver those services and products, and the way you manage that relationship, right? What is the customer's experience with working with pure cloud as a whole? Because quite often, relationships break down. You could have the best tech in the world. It's offering a wonderful bit of value for a client, but they're just not getting on with you. You're not delivering that quality of service separate from the product that they're after, and they move to a different technology, and that's a real shame, because it's hard enough winning new business. It's hard enough getting that tech in there in the first place. It's creating all manner of pain for the client to swap it out, and all down to you as a business having not provided the good customer experience and journey in working with you, right?
Yeah, and I think that basically comes down to the culture of the business again. I mean, the way we've kind of changed as a business over the last 2 or 3 years is massive, really. I mean, obviously, I was quite integral to it at the beginning, same as my brother Martin was. But over the last 2 years, we've really taken a step back, which has allowed us to focus on the business rather than in it. And we've built a decent board of directors that kind of get where our headspace is, and kind of the culture that we've tried to kind of create within that business, that group of businesses. And now they're relaying it to all of the team members that they bring in. We have a set of core values that we live and die by as a business, that we recruit from as a business. Because, you know, the way we kind of look at it is, as long as we're bringing the right person into the business, they might not have the technical background that we need them to have, but they've got the right culture, the right kind of values that we hold dear to us. We can give them the rest over time. You know, we're very good at mentoring our people, but even you know, beyond that, if you've got the right person to mentor in the first place, then that job becomes easier as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's why you can't go based on qualifications, right? As sorry as that is to say, and saddened as I am, you know, it's all right getting a CV, but, you know, generally speaking, get me face to face with them, let me have a chat with them, and 100%. You can tell within 30 seconds to a minute generally if they're going to fit with you, because you can teach skills. You can show somebody how to do something. You can send them on a course, but if they haven't got that mindset and like I say, that work ethic that you're looking for, that you can't really teach. You end up just in a fighting battle of trying to instill that in people, and we haven't got time for that.
Even to the basic thing, like, you know, there's a phone ringing, to, you know, one of your peers saying you're going to pick the phone up, it's rang twice. You know, it's simple things. You know, it's not an email comes in from a client, not just leaving it in a to-do list, and actually just pinging back saying, you know, busy at the moment, we'll get into you. Just an instant response that your client gets to know that you're doing something. And I think just those little things become a big thing.
Absolutely. Communication. Pardon the pun. Communication is key. Clients are okay to wait an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours for a detailed response if they know that you're actually looking at it, because more often than not, it requires research, going off, finding out what needs to be done, and that's not an instant thing. There'd be no value in me jumping on a call with you per se immediately, because I need to go away and do some research and have a chat with some people internally. So let me tell you that that's what I'm going to do, and I'll give you a call in a few hours. Customer knows exactly where they're at.
Correct.
So, yeah, I really like your work there, Darren. I always like to get people to share some books or websites or people that have been influential, that have helped you throughout your career, that have helped get you through lockdown, which we'll come on to in a second. You've got a couple of books for us. Do you want to just share those?
Yeah, so one book actually. So the one book is the Street Smart MBA by a guy called Ian Fisherwick. Ian Fisherwick is the chairman now. He was a CEO of a company called Adept Communications. So in my industry, he took a business to, I think, about 100 plus million now, floated them. And then wrote a book which is all about snippets. It's not a complex book, but it's based on common sense. And I think there's a lot of books out there that you can read, and they talk about strategies, and they talk about, you know, this, that, and the other, and trying to make things really, really complex when it's not. It's down to common sense, I think, in business. And I think this guy has just nailed little things that if you read it, you know, some of it you're going to gloss over, but if you, I'd say that, you know, 70-80% of that book is worth taking on board. So yeah, he's one.
Yeah.
Another guy that I look up to is a guy called Matt Riley. I worked with him when I was at DTW. He was regional sales manager. He now heads up one of the biggest communications businesses in the UK, data communications. He built that from scratch. I think they're worth about 700 or 800 million now, so he's done a fantastic job there.
Yeah.
Again, nice guy, understood what customer service was about from day one, and he's built his business on what he was made of. And then the final thing is a personal thing, really. It's a documentary called Free Solo, and it's about a guy who basically climbs a really difficult rock face with no ropes in America. Alex Honnold is his name, and he's, you kind of go for the journey with him in this documentary, and it comes down to basically focus and determination. And he practices this climb with ropes, and there's just one bit that he keeps falling off on, and he keeps falling off on. And then one morning, you kind of cut to him on the mountain, and the camera team have woke up, and he's already started the climb. And he's obviously, in his head, he's woke up and he's thought, that's it, I'm doing it today. So he basically does the climb, no ropes, gets to this bit. He's like, I've got a drone that follows him up this cliff face. He gets to this bit that he's always fallen off on. And I've got to be honest, it's kind of like, oh my God, he's here, isn't he? And he does it, and he absolutely does it. So, the bit there is that it comes down to focus, to me, in your own. If you believe you can do something, then, I think that kind of shows you that you can, because he'd fallen off every single time he tried to do it.
Yeah, he'd obviously got in the back of his mind, it's okay, I've got a rope to save me. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. That's fine. But he then had I have no choice but to make it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it.
Yeah, and he did.
Wonderful.
And it's worth a view. Absolutely, it's worth an hour of your life.
Fantastic. Speaking of climbing, you're going to climb a mountain. What's that all about?
Okay, so again, not a lot of people know this, but I started a charity 5 years ago called Help Us Help Others. We'd raised funds for other charities, and you get to understand then that obviously the money that you raise doesn't necessarily go to where you want it to go. So we started a charity where nobody takes a salary, and PCS do a lot of covering of the costs of events that we run. And then basically we know exactly where that pound, shilling, and pence actually gets spent. Over the last couple of years, 2-3 years, we've raised about just over £30,000 for different individuals that have needed something that's going to have changed their life, and we know they've got that. They've got what they've needed. So our challenge in September, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie and like things that could potentially kill me, not to the happiness of my wife, I might add. So we've decided to try and summit the Matterhorn in September this year for our charity. So we've got a target of £30,000 that we're trying to raise, and my eldest son is going to be joining me as well, Jamie. So yeah, we're hard in training at the moment. So so far this month, I've ran and walked with my wife about 150k.
Wow!
And
just for the benefit of those that don't know, where is the Matterhorn?
So it's in Zermatt in Switzerland. It's one of the most iconic mountain faces. If you know the Paramount film brand, it's the mountain that sits in the middle of that.
Wow.
So, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, very challenging. But anything in life worth doing is always challenging. So
you've got to have that I am going to do it mindset, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Darren, just finally, in the last few minutes we've got here, professionally and personally, what's the last 12 months been like for yourselves, having to deal with lockdown? We're just trying to get into people's minds about things you did to keep yourself sharp, keep yourself fit. Obviously the walking, the climbing and everything sounds like that's been working, but having to work from home all the time, and also from a business perspective, were there any switches and changes you had to make?
I mean, we're very fortunate because obviously we sell cloud solutions, right? So us actually, when they made the decision to basically lock down offices and say everyone has got to work from home, we did it in about 2 hours flat, to be fair. Everything was done. Everybody was set up to work from home the following day. And all we did was literally didn't go in the following day and didn't turn the lights on in the office. What we did spend then was like several months moving a lot of clients that we'd been speaking to about cloud technology to a cloud solution. So we were very, very busy, like very busy. You know, the clients that we already had on you know, with the cloud solution in place, that was easy. They did exactly the same thing. They just, you know, the following day work from home. But there was, I would probably say, probably 60% of our business was still, you know, a mix of, you know, some new technology, but a lot of old technology. So, you know, we were just crazy busy moving those guys to be able to work from home.
Great.
And then obviously we came back. Then we went to another lockdown. Then we came back. Then we're in lockdown 3 now. And I think, you know, the business side has been fine. We very fortunately, because we have a recurring revenue model business, we haven't, you know, I don't know the right way to say this, we haven't experienced as much pain as those that don't have a recurring model business. And our pipeline has also not really suffered because people know that they need this technology to be able to kind of operate in the future. I also think it's made businesses sit back and actually really evaluate whether they need to have, you know, that big office or whether they can downsize. I think there's always going to be a need for an office, but I think people are really sitting back and taking stock now. So I think from a business perspective, you know, we haven't really suffered, but we have been very busy.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've spoken about this on a couple of other chats I've had. You know, maybe the sales organizations will go back because they need that interaction, need that buzz, the bouncing off one another. Darren, thank you for sharing that journey, that story with us, and your experiences. Hopefully people can take some things from this and implement it within their business. And of course, please do check Darren Lake out on LinkedIn. Is there an email address people can contact you with, Darren?
Yeah, absolutely. Darren, it's very simple. Darren at purecloudsolutions.com.
Fantastic. Thanks, Darren. Appreciate your time. And best of luck with that, and stay safe. Thanks everyone for joining us on another episode of Business Source.
Cheers, Lee.